Hello everybody, this is Star Wars Productions. Today I will be giving you my opinions on the Aftermath series of books. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more from my channel. So let's get into it. But before, if you don't want to be spoiled, you have 5 seconds to click away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's get into it. In the first book, named Aftermath, we meet the main characters. Temin Wexley, Nora Wexley, Senior Rathvelas, Jasamari, John Barrel, Mr. Bones, and Grand Admiral Slaughter. This book takes place on Akriva, and this book also shows the story of the first 5 of those characters I mentioned teaming up as an unlikely team. Here are their descriptions. Temin is a young teenager who has a part shop and has rebuilt a B-1 battle droid named Mr. Bones, who is heavily modified and equipped with vibro blades. Nora Wexley is Temin's mum and an ex-rebel pilot who fought at the Battle of Endor in a Y-wing. Senior Rathvelas is an ex-Imperial loyalty officer who defected after the Battle of Endor and is an expert at getting information out of prisoners. Jasamari is a bounty hunter whose aunt was Sugi, who was shown in the Clone Wars. She is in big debt that was passed down from her aunt. John Barrel was a New Republic Special Forces commando who lost his whole squad in this book on their mission to Akriva. Now for the head of the Empire, Grand Admiral Sloane. She was the highest ranking Imperial after the defeat at Endor. This book was very enjoyable to read, and it was nice going back and forth from different stories and seeing them come together into one singular story. The book includes interludes in the story, which were interesting, as one of them in particular showed how Cobb Vanth got his armour from Jawas, which we then saw again in The Mandalorian Season 2. In this book, most of the Imperial High Command gets killed in their attempt to escape Akriva, but Grand Admiral Sloane survives. I really enjoyed this book, but my one complaint could be that it can be a bit confusing at the start, but as you get into it, it's not confusing at all. Now for Book 2, Aftermath, Life, Death. This book introduces a new character, Gallius Rax, who was a counsellor in the Empire, and most importantly, part of Palpatine's contingency plan. In this book, the team have missions to take out high-ranking Imperial officers, as they are now working for the New Republic. After one of these missions, the team return to Trilogy. When they arrive, they meet Leia Organa, who is at this time pregnant with Ben Solo. They also meet Wedge Antilles. This is where a romance forms between him and Nora Wexley. Leia sends them on a mission to find her husband, who is lost, Han Solo. When the group finds Han, he has lost his famous co-pilot, Chewbacca. Further on in the story, they go to Kashyyyk and free a prison full of prisoners. Chewbacca is one of them, but Nora Wexley's husband, Breton Wexley, who was presumed to be dead, is actually there. After this, the team divides in two. Half go back to Trilogy and half stay at Kashyyyk. Nora, Temin, Mr. Bones and Brenton head back, and the rest stay, including Han. Soon after, Admiral Ray Sloane contacted the Chancellor Mon Mothma in an attempt to discuss surrender. This was all a ruse though, as Sloane was sent by Gallius Rax. Before this event happened, Brenton began acting odd and went out for lots of walks. One night, Temin went out for one of these walks himself and told Mr. Bones not to follow him. When he caught up with his dad turned on him and stunned him. Luckily, Mr. Bones, after hours of Temin being out, decided to go out for him and managed to rescue him. The next day was Liberation Day. As the celebrations went on through the day, about halfway through, all the rescued prisoners from Kashyyyk pulled out pistols and started firing at high-value New Republic officers. Brenton went at Mon Mothma. When he shot, Nora pushed him. This stopped him from killing her, but she was still seriously injured. Commodore Agate was injured as well, having a cybernetic eye, but during this, Kashyyyk was almost free. But then the Star Destroyers above began orbital bombardment. But in the nick of time before the whole planet was destroyed, Home One arrived, with Admiral Akbar and Leia Organa in command. They were also accompanied by Phantom Squadron. They were a rebel squadron who then became part of the New Republic. This attack was successful in taking out the Star Destroyers. I really enjoyed this second book. It was a great read and I definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in Star Wars. Now finally, we move on to the third book and the final book, Aftermath, Empire's End. This book is the longest of the books and tells the story of how the Empire was taken out. Well, at least the main part of it, as we saw in Mandalorian Season 2 and 1. It starts off with the crew heading to Jakku to find a massive Imperial fleet, including the Ravager Superstar Destroyer. During this, Nora and Jash use an escape pod to go down to the surface, while Temin flies. He orders Mr. Bones to take another escape pod and follow Nora to keep her safe. The rest of the crew managed to escape, taking a hyperspace jump back to Trangula. There's another story, which is a side story in this, about Chancellor Mon Mothma and her election race. And another one in this is about Ray Sloane and Brenton and how they were trying to find Gallius Rax on Jakku. We also find out a lot more about Gallius Rax and how he was recruited by Palpatine. During this book, we followed the Senate vote on whether to attack the Empire at Jakku or not. On Jakku, Nora gets captured by the Empire, and Jas gets captured by Mercurial Swift and his bounty hunter team, which included Embo and Dengar. Mr. Bones makes a daring rescue of Nora, but gets blasted by stormtroopers, but then manages to reassemble by programming from Temin. He manages to save Nora and get her out of the hands of the Empire. Back at Trandriela and the Senate, Sunya investigates the 5 senators that turned the vote against the attack on the Jakku. He finds out they were being blackmailed and they had things taken from them. And after this, the vote was approved. The attack was led by Home One and 3 Starhawks, with the Concorde being commanded by Krista Agate, the one from the last book that got the cybernetic eye. Before the ships left, Tem and Wexley managed to convince Phantom Squadron to disobey their orders and go to Jakku, with him joining them. Before the New Republic arrived though, Sloane and Brenton teamed up with Nema the Hutt to attack the Imperial base, but they both got captured. During the space battle, one of the Star Destroyer's commanders panicked and used the Star Destroyer he was commanding and used it as a sword to cut through one of the Star Hawks. All this debris then hit one of the other Star Hawks, the Concorde. At this point, the Concorde was too heavily damaged, so Krista Agate ordered the ship to be evacuated, but didn't leave herself. She told Admiral Akbar to get all the starfighters to attack the engines of the Super Star Destroyer Ravager. And as she was going down, she used all the thrusters she had to push into the Ravager. She managed to punch a hole in the side, but it wouldn't have been enough damage to take the ship down. So she decided to do it a different way. When the engines went down, she used the tractor beam, which was incredibly powerful on the Starhawk, to bring the Ravager down with her. She gave her life and took out the capital ship for the Empire. Down on the ground, Nora and Mr. Bones rescued Brenton and Sloane, and as a four, they headed out to find Gallius Rax. But then, Mr. Bones scanned Temin below and jumped out of the shuttle to rescue him. Temin had been crashed from the debris of the two ships coming down, and Mr. Bones had rescued him just before an AT-ST attacked. Mr. Bones managed to defeat the AT-ST, but then it blew up and Mr. Bones was caught in the blast. Soon after, Nora, Bratton and Sloane found where Gallius Rax was and started disabling the super weapon that he had enabled, which would have destroyed the whole of the Empire's fleet and the New Republic's fleet. This was happening as well as Sloane running off to find Gallius Rax without a blaster or anything. She was so annoyed with him for taking her empire that she attacked him in hand-to-hand combat, and after the first hit she got destroyed. She got destroyed and was left almost dead. But Nora Wexley showed up with a blaster. But then she got taken out and Gallius Rax got the blaster and was about to shoot her when Bretton showed up and attacked him with everything he had, but in the end was beaten and got shot. After this, Sloane managed to get up and fight Rax. She got the blaster and Rax ran for a bit, but then Sloane caught up to him and killed him. She then goes off with the Huxers to build a new empire. Soon after, Nora leaves with Bretton's body. The book ends with all the characters going their separate ways. We also find out that John died at the Battle of Jakku. Overall, I think this book and the others is a must-read. It's an incredible series, and it is amazing to find out more about what happened between episode 6 and episode 7. You really feel like you're there with the characters. It's incredible writing. I've loved reading these books and I would give it a 5 out of 5. I would definitely recommend them if you liked what you heard in this video. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.